What's up, you guys? Tim Trevathan with Tim Trevathan Homes, and I'm here in Johns Creek, Georgia, and behind me is the Super H-Mart. Guys, I've done a lot of videos here covering all of Koreatown and Metro Atlanta because I want you guys to know about it. There's so much that here in the North Metro Atlanta area has to offer when it comes to the Asian community, Koreatown, many of the different grocery stores and restaurants and education, jobs, employment, and schools. And guys, one thing that I want to tell you is that there are two best kept secrets about where I am today. And I want to tell you, so they're not going to be secrets anymore. So the first best kept secret is that, guys, this is the best Koreatown in the entire country. That's right. Here in the United States of America, we are here in the best Koreatown. Now, you might be thinking, Tim, you're biased. That's your opinion. It's debatable. Okay, fair point. But here's the thing. Check out my other videos if you haven't already. Come back in the comment section and then let me know if you agree or disagree. But I would argue to say that it is, and I want to tell you why in a minute. And it's related to the second best kept secret. Are you ready? We are here in Johns Creek, the best suburb in all of Atlanta. US News and World Report actually ranked Johns Creek as the #1 best suburb as the best place to live in all of the US. Now, that's based on several different factors such as safety, schools, economy, various things like that. And here's the thing, me and the locals, we don't need an article to tell us that. We already know that living here. And Johns Creek, I want to give you an idea. And first off, I just want to say, if you don't already know, I'm a real estate agent and I'm here to help people move here. Buyers from out of state especially, and they've come from all over the country and even from outside of the country. People in Korea are watching this and they're getting jobs here in Atlanta, they're moving here and they want to know more about the area. So I'm glad that you're able to click on this video and check it out. Now, here's the thing. As a real estate agent, I want to tell you more about the area, not just give you a tour of this, which we will do in a minute. Johns Creek is very special for a couple reasons. Number one, first off, North Metro Atlanta has about 80% of the top 25 high schools in the entire state of Georgia are found here in North Metro Atlanta. A good portion of those are found here in Johns Creek and in neighboring cities like Alpharetta. Now, you've got schools, and literally down that street, if you look down that street, you just go literally like 2 minutes down that street and you see Northview High School on your right. Northview is ranked, I would argue, the top 3 in terms of public schools here in Metro Atlanta. So you've got that as one of the schools. You got Johns Creek High School. You got a lot of other neighboring schools that teeter on the edge, such as Lambert High School, Alpharetta High School. So guys, one of the things that attracts people here are the schools. And you will see that the resale value here is extremely strong. In fact, the strongest of anywhere. The market currently here, as I'm filming in October of 2025, and here I'm on a Thursday at about 4:30 p.m., that the market has slowed down quite a bit. Prices have come down some throughout all of Metro Atlanta. But here in Johns Creek, it has been a resilient market. It is like a bubble. So it's not like the rest of Atlanta. And the reason why is because of how attractive it is when it comes to schools. Now, a lot of people, the ones that have money, the ones that are looking to buy a home and are willing to cough up the money for a down payment, choose to live here because typically the people that have money are the ones that are families. And those are the ones that are looking to buy for schools for their kids. So that's one reason. Another reason is it's very safe. The crime rate is one of the lowest in the entire country. Click on the link below or up on the top of the screen where I have a link to why Johns Creek is such a special place. It's got, it's known for one of the lowest theft rates, burglary rates, several other crime statistics and metrics. And what's cool is that there are other cities that are in like the top 50 safest in America, and some of them have a bigger population than Johns Creek, while others are smaller in population. And this one is actually a bigger population than some of the ones that are ranked close by, meaning you would think that if there are more people, then there's a higher chance of crime. But it's not the case if you look at the statistics of other cities in the top 50. So that's another thing that makes this place so great, that despite the bigger population, you're not seeing crime explode like in other places in terms of proportion. Now, this Koreatown is one of 4 major ones: Doraville, Duluth, Suwanee, Johns Creek. Johns Creek, H-Mart in particular, this one is smaller in square footage than the other 3. This one I would say is comparable in size to the Suwanee one, but Suwanee has also got Ashi Market, so they've technically got 2 within their city. Now, that doesn't make this H-Mart or this Koreatown any less desirable. It just shows that there's so much here that you can go take a look in terms of the Koreatowns here. And it's not centralized like in one area like LA or Manhattan. When we think of Koreatown here in Atlanta, it's sprawled out and you do need a car. I've had 1 or 2 clients that asked me, Tim, where's the closest place that I can live to walk to H-Mart? And I said, I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that here. You have to have a car. Now, some more things. Over there, that direction where there's Northview High School, there's also this place called E-Plex. It is a Korean daycare and it's been advertised a lot. I have a client who sends their kids there and they love it. One of the things that he quoted to me is that they feed my children well. So if you want a place that feeds the children well, that's a great place. And again, it's a Korean daycare. So if you want your kids to learn Korean at an early age, that is a good place. And it's literally right across the street from Sugar Mill, which is one of my favorite neighborhoods. I had a client buy in there in 2019. I think we saw like 50 homes in 8 months, which is not normal. Typically, they'll see the house that they want within the first 10 homes and put in an offer, regardless of whether they get accepted or not. In this case, he had a little bit of a different standard. We had to figure out what it is that he truly liked, find the home that he liked, get an offer that was accepted, which we did. And that home, I think he bought in 2019 for like $525,000. Wow. Wish those prices were like it was back then. Now that home is worth about $875,000. So almost double. And if you just go down one more street, just a little bit further down, one of the newer communities built in 2018 called Belmore Park, those homes were selling for $550,000. Now they're worth over $1 million. So just to let you know, this is the kind of resale value you can expect. This is the kind of demand you can expect in Johns Creek. And again, the reason why is because great schools, very safe, and it's situated in a good location. Now, I may be a little biased. I like Suwanee in particular because it's closer to the interstate. That if you want to take business trips to the airport or just trips on vacation for traveling anywhere to the airport, it's better to be close to the interstate. Or if you want to go downtown for an event like Atlanta Hawks game or a Falcons football game, then it's good to be closer to the interstate. Here in Johns Creek, it's a little bit further into the suburbs. So I had one client, he's Korean, and he lives in the Parsons Elementary School District, Peachtree Ridge High School District, right off of Sugarloaf Parkway in Stonebriar at Sugarloaf, which is a great community. I love it. It's a gated community. And he likes the location of that close to the interstate. Same reason that I give, albeit maybe I'm biased because that is what I like. But a lot of people find Johns Creek to be a beautiful haven for just a residential area. A lot of people move here for true suburban life. But if you want to go out and venture out more to the eateries and things to do, sometimes you go to the neighboring cities for that if you do live in Johns Creek. Now, having said that, where we are in this H-Mart location is on the furthest east side of Johns Creek. So if you just go down like a half a mile that way, you will enter into Duluth. So right where Peachtree Industrial is. So it's not far from Duluth as far as where this H-Mart is. I'm gonna start over on this side and give you the rundown of Koreatown here in Johns Creek. While I'm walking over there, a couple more things that I like to point out is, again, best kept secret, Johns Creek, the #1 place to live as far as suburbs here in Metro Atlanta and the entire country, and for good reason. And remember though, the prices are gonna be quite a bit more than other places. You're looking at probably a median home value of around 800,000 here. And you can find homes ranging from built in the early 90s to as new as 2018. We don't have much new construction anywhere in Gwinnett County or North Fulton, which is where we're at. So taxes are a little bit more in North Fulton where we're at. But the newest community, actually, technically, there's one that was built in 2024 and this part of this year, all the way up until third quarter, and that's called Knollwood. But I believe they just sold their last new home over there. So, and those were going for 1.2 million. So if you want new construction in Johns Creek, the cheapest you can find for single family is 1.2 million. Then the cheapest new construction after that are townhomes at Ward's Crossing, and they're selling for about 750 to 800,000. So if you're looking to move here, typically people find that they are okay with buying an older home, like a 1995 home. And then they'll just find that if it's renovated inside, that the homeowner's taking good care of the home, it's well maintained, then they'll put an offer and buy it, and they'll call that their home. There is really no place that is bad in Johns Creek. Literally every neighborhood is a great neighborhood to live here. I know there are some cities where you have good parts of town and bad parts of town, such as Lawrenceville. But here in Johns Creek, just simply being in Johns Creek is considered the best of the best. You can feel safe, you can feel happy, you can feel proud to be called a resident of Johns Creek. So without further ado, here we go. So we're here on the far right end of where the Super H-Mart is. Before I talk about that, across the street is a gated townhome community, and that is also a place where you can, actually, I believe the HOA allows rentals. There may be a cap. A lot of times HOAs are strict about allowing rentals, but if there's a cap of, say, the first 20% is allowed to be rented out, and after that there's a waiting list. They have a friend that bought one, and back in 2018 when it first got built, and she's renting it out every month for the last seven or 8 years. So it's been great in terms of investment rental income too. So, you know, and if you go down here, Medlock Bridge, you're going that way, Old Alabama Road, States Bridge Road, that area is rich in awesome housing, and there is a shopping center over there too. So if you're looking for food, that could be a good direction and place to live. All right, Concentra. This is not a Korean-owned business, but just showing you that this is the kind of thing you can find here. All right, so there's that. Tiger Sugar, we've got, I think, 3 or 4 locations. There's one in the Dorville H-Mart location and the Duluth H-Mart location. They serve bubble tea. Hansel and Gretel Bakery Cafe, we've got a few locations of these too. Great coffee, great pastries. I just had a coffee there a few hours ago. K-Chicken, we've got so much Korean fried chicken. This one also specializes in pizza. I love BBQ chicken personally. This place is also good. Suni and Tommy, we also have several locations of this cosmetic company of Korean skincare products. My wife likes to go here once in a while. Typically she'll buy online and get it shipped to us directly to our home, but this is if you wanted to find something and try it for yourself in person, it may be good to go. Kim's Optical, so if you want sunglasses, reading glasses, corrective lenses, that's the place to go. Over here is the H-Mart, and I think I'm gonna go in it. Here is the parking lot. So you can see there's a lot of empty spots. Part of the reason is because it's not the weekend. On the weekend, it will be more populated with cars, but it will not be fully packed because this isn't the busiest location, such as Duluth H-Mart or say Dorville. But you'll see that there's a lot more here we could look at. So anyway, here is the Johns Creek H-Mart. Skincare over there. So you can buy plants, it's a florist, some Korean apparel. Now this one again is going to be this location is Not as busy and not as big as other ones, but you can see they've got all the things necessary to buy for your family. Produce, and here's the food court, and you can see. And one thing I like to point out is this food court is smaller, but according to my wife, she says she likes this one the best. I think that they have more traditional food to pick from, so maybe the quality is better while the quantity is lower, the quality is better. So one thing to keep in mind when you come here. You see they got Korean food, sushi, Taiwanese food, Chinese food, different kind of Japanese ramen. You got all of these different side dishes here. Two le jour, which you'll often see one of those inside the H-Marts. You got all your Korean groceries here, plenty to choose from. There's seafood in the back. I was doing a quick run because I just want to show you the storefronts outside. Yeah, your pots and pans over there, rice cookers. Here are the rice cookers. Yeah, a lot of different products here. So again, this one is smaller, and so this one was actually built not that long ago compared to other ones. So this is the newer H-Mart location as well. So there you have it as far as this location. Let me go outside. All right, I had one she said, "No filming." So I tried to leave a little quickly. Little does he know, I'm trying to spread around the awareness of Korean culture and bring in more people to his grocery store. But that's okay. Things happen like that sometimes when I'm filming. All right, so there you go. You got a pharmacy, Korean-owned pharmacy. You got another skincare place here. So they got products. Also do acne care, hair removal. So it's not just products. Here's an empty spot for lease. So there's your opportunity to start a business. Here's a Korean dentist, Universal Dental at Johns Creek. There's an AT&T. I don't think that's Korean owned. And then if we come over here, you got Royce, which it's like some really good chocolate. They had this at the Japan Fest, and I think it is directly from Japan, so not technically Korean, but it's really good chocolate. You have to check it out. Here's Metro City Bank, which is a bank that a lot of times caters to non-qualified mortgages, meaning that if you don't have the traditional 2-year tax return with credit score, they can still work with you and try to get a mortgage loan for you, a commercial loan. Jaws tteokbokki. So this is some super spicy rice cake, bunchik street food that is popular in Korea. So you could try this out right here. They got a storefront. Here is another spot that's ready to be taken by a new business. And then last but not least, on the end here, on the far left, is Kinokuniya. This is a Japanese bookstore. And I flipped out when I saw that we had this. Why? Because back when I was crazy for Japanese culture, still am, but not nearly as much as when I was a kid. I was crazy about the different goods, books, plush dolls, anime, manga, action figures and whatnot. And now we've got it. Now, I told a friend about this and who lives in Houston, Texas. He said, "Tim, we've been having that store for many years." I was like, "Really?" So I visited my friend and we went to the Kinokuniya in Houston. And yeah, it was open before ours, but it is significantly smaller. I think it's like a third of the size of this one. So we got a huge retail space right here. And also, when I went to Tokyo back in 2012, there's this other store called Kotobukiya. The name's kind of similar. Kinokuniya Kotobukiya. Kotobukiya is the company that manufactures and creates acrylic and resin statues, action figures, busts, and a lot of it is referenced from video games and anime. You have some action figures for sale here, but that is primarily at Kotobukiya. You have to go to Japan for that. But this store is very popular among many other stores here that we've had a chance to go to. So a smaller shopping center, albeit a nice one, an attractive one. And again, I'm trying to highlight my sunglasses on as the sun is now beating down on me. So again, I'm Tim Trevathan, and I like to highlight the different Koreatowns here because a lot of people don't know about it. But also, if you're looking to move here, if you got other questions, you can call me directly, text me, or you can leave a comment in the comment section. I will answer you because I want to help people make a smooth transition to coming here. So if you've already thought about moving to Johns Creek or you're just now finding out about it, give me a call if you have other questions. Johns Creek, again, is one of the highly sought after cities in all of Metro Atlanta. And the neighboring cities, Alpharetta, Suwanee, are also great. A lot of the Korean community has been moving to Buford and parts of Dekalb. I'm gonna cover that in another video soon, so stay tuned. Like and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.